The immediate path of this storm, including the following roads. If I name this off, and this sounds like it's in your neighborhood: Hightower Road, Mount Olive Church Road, Powell Road, Jim Ross Road. Moving a little further to the northeast, Fairhaven Road. You are under a tornado warning. You need to go ahead and move into the interiormost room of the home or the location that you're in, away from windows and doors. A basement is the ideal location to be during a tornado warning, but if you don't have a basement available to you, get inside an interior bathroom, a closet, or underneath a staircase, as we have this storm capable of producing a tornado moving through parts of Dodge County. So remember, earlier we were tracking the same cell. It did produce a tornado through parts of Crisp County, so the cell definitely has the potential to produce a tornado as it continues to move off to the northeast here at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Right where you have that green and red together, just about to cross Georgia 87 and Georgia 230. That's where we do have this Doppler indicated tornado. It's moving off to the northeast at about 15. Again, that's going to put it over Hightower Road, Mount Olive Church Road, Jim Ross Road, or Fairhaven Road within the next couple of minutes. Then as we go further in time, if you live near Godwinsonville, south of Eastman, or right along Georgia 117, you are all in that tornado polygon. You're under a tornado warning. You need to move inside. If you're not already inside, move to an interior room away from windows and doors. You want to place as many walls between yourself and outside as possible to shield yourself, of course, from the damaging wind, but also the possibility of lofted debris. And this is one of the more impressive couplets that we've seen since we've been doing this coverage tonight. I think there's a good opportunity for having a tornado here right between the county line there of Dodge County and then over there to Georgia 230. So if you see this couplet and you live right to the northeast of this couplet, inside of that cone, you're in the immediate path of the storm. Again, the roads that includes: Hightower Road, L.A. Peterson Road, Mount Olive Church Road. Eventually further off to the north and east, Jim Ross Road. There is a strong rotation indicated by Doppler radar, and this could be a tornado. Due to that, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning, and this is in effect until 9:15 p.m. this evening. So we're going to be with you through the duration of the warning. Most of central Georgia has not seen that severe weather threat this evening. Our southern counties have been dealing with that. So even though you might not be dealing with a severe weather threat right now, we're going to stay with this as we do have a potentially serious situation down here through parts of Dodge County. So again, tornado warning is in effect for Dodge until 9:15. If you're inside of that red polygon, move inside your basement or an interior room. One of the things we were tracking earlier was the lightning count with these storms. A lot of times when you see a lot of lightning in and around those rotations, it could indicate that the storm is strengthening, and we see a good bit of lightning strikes right here. So it's a decent indicator that we have a strong updraft associated with this storm. Latest scan of the radar just came in. Notice how it's a little bit more broad. The colors aren't as bright and they're not as coupled together. Still a good couplet there, but not as tight as the last one. So hopefully this one's going to cycle through. Still dangerous enough, though, that I want you to go ahead and move inside to an interior room, a bathroom, a closet, underneath a staircase. All of those would be great places to be. If you have a bicycle helmet, go ahead and put those on yourself or on your kids. That can help shield your head in case your house were to be hit by this. And a lot of people don't think of this one, but wear some tennis shoes as you go to your tornado safe space. If the unfortunate event happens and your house is hit by this storm, you don't want to step on any sharp objects after the storm. So go ahead and put those tennis shoes on as you go to your tornado safe space. Again, when we put the projected path on this rotation, you're not going to see a whole lot of towns show up. There's not any towns in this projected path that are populated enough for them to show up on the system. But we still have some roads in the immediate path of the storm that we can tell you about. So again, if you live basically between Georgia 117 and Georgia 87, those two state roads, you need to be in your tornado safe space. Mount Olive Church Road, Fairhaven Road, Jim Ross Road, you are all in the immediate path of this rotation. So right now you need to go ahead and get inside, interior room. If you have a sturdy table you can get under, that's a good idea. And ideally, if you have a basement, that's where you want to be, the lowest level of your home. Absolutely do not be upstairs as this thing is coming on through, as we could have obviously dangerous wind and maybe some flying debris here. We'll go ahead and query the shear here. So this latest shear marker that came in has wind shear at 50 miles an hour. to and away from the radar, that's normally strong enough that we could see one of those tornadoes. So we'll back it out too and show you what's going on. Again, these are not your typical supercell thunderstorms that you would see during the springtime. They're not going to be those kidney bean shapes on the radar, so it's kind of difficult to pick out. But embedded within this rain is the potential for a rain-wrapped tornado. All right, something I want to point out to you here. This is another indicator of a tornado on radar. See where we have this lighter reflectivity within the rain here? Sometimes that could be called an inflow notch. We could have some of that wind coming into the rotation from the southeast side, and we have cooler air coming on the backside, and that creates that rotation. So again, that's right on top of Georgia 230 right now, just to the north of Rhine, between Georgia 230, Georgia 87, and Georgia 117. You are in the immediate path of this rotation that, with that 2 scans ago on the radar, looked fairly strong and still looks pretty coupled together there. So again, the red on the radar indicates that motion away from the radar. The green indicates that motion towards the radar. And this is moving off to the northeast here at a slow pace, only 15 miles an hour. But still, anywhere within that tornado warning polygon needs to be in their tornado safe space right now. So if you live north of Rhine, go ahead and get in your tornado safe spot. South of Eastman to the west of Chauncey, interior room, lowest level, a bathroom would be a great place to be. If you have bicycle helmets, go ahead and put those on in case that damaging swath of wind comes right through your area. That could help protect your head. And also wear tennis shoes as you go to your tornado safe space, so that after the storm, if the unfortunate thing did happen and you did get hit by this tornado, then you wouldn't step on any sharp objects. This is the same cell that produced a tornado back in Crisp County and produced some damage there. So you want to take this one very seriously, as this one does have the potential to produce that. And let's see if the correlation coefficient here lines up with where we had that rotation. You see where we have some of the lighter colors here on the radar. If I can co-locate that with the velocity there, yeah, we may have actually had a tornado touchdown there. So you see where we have those lighter colors? Sometimes that could indicate lofted debris where we have those yellows. So this could be anything from leaves to some tree debris, hopefully not any homes or anything like that, but those slightly lighter shades are sometimes an indicator of some lofted debris, especially since it was right where that velocity signature went through. So we'll be watching that. Let's see if I can back this up a little bit and see what this looks like. Not 100% sure there, but that's kind of what it would look like. So again, tornado warning is in effect for Dodge County. This goes until 9:15 p.m. this evening. It's a Doppler indicated tornado. If we get any confirmation of this tornado, of course, we will tell you immediately, but we don't have a damage report from it yet. But it is the same cell that produced the tornado a second ago. I'm going to go over to chroma key here for a minute, if y'all want to take that one for me. And this is another one of those indicators of a tornado sometimes. You see where we have those lighter colors coming into the storm here. That's what we call an inflow notch. So we have wind coming from the southeast into the storm. You have winds wrapping around from the top part of the storm, and where you have that together, that's where we can have, that's just an indicator on the Doppler radar of a tornado. And again, that is moving off to the northeast here at about 15 miles an hour. So if you're inside that red polygon in Dodge County, you need to go ahead and seek shelter immediately, the lowest level of the home or building that you're in, away from windows and doors. If you have a bicycle helmet, great idea to go ahead and put that on. Motorcycle helmet, same kind of thing works for that. If you have tennis shoes, I know you have tennis shoes, go ahead and put the tennis shoes on so that after the storm is over, if your home has been damaged, you don't step on any sharp objects and potentially injure yourself with that. We'll get a new scan of the radar in just a second, but you can see it's moving here off to the northeast. If you guys want to go ahead and download our 13 WMAZ News app, great way to go ahead and get these types of warnings. You can set it specific to your location, and we have these severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings coming out. You will be notified immediately. So great way to do that in case you are away from your TV. So we go back over to the velocity mode of the radar now. You see it looks a little more disorganized than it did a couple minutes ago, but you can see right where we were talking about that inflow notch is that strong inflow of that wind there. We see those bright green colors. Look again here at the reflectivity, and it kind of co-locates together. So two decent indicators on radar that we have strong rotation. So you need to take this tornado warning seriously. Inside that red polygon, respect it. Go ahead and get inside away from windows and doors in an interior room. If you do have a basement, go ahead and get there. If you're up here near Eastman and Chauncey, the tornado is not bearing down on you immediately. If you're in a mobile home in those two locations and you know a friend or somebody that has a more sturdy structure, you still have some time up there to go ahead and get to that safer place, since this is only moving at about 15 miles an hour. But in the immediate path of the storm, don't go outside. Stay inside, away from windows, interior room, lowest level of your home. Again, Fairhaven Road, Mount Olive Church Road, Benel Road, Willow Lane. All of you need to be inside your tornado safe space at this time. It's the second tornado warning that we've had today on this same cell. So this cell did produce a tornado back there in Crisp County. We talked to the EMA director there in Crisp County that told us about some of the damage. These tornadoes with tropical systems don't last all that long, but they could still produce a decent bit of damage, and that's why we do have to take these tornado warnings seriously. For the rest of central Georgia right now that is not dealing with severe weather, we just have the rainfall in place. Again, could be heavy at times. The best risk for severe weather that we are tracking today, we imagine it would be along our southern counties. That's where it has shaped up, and that's where I imagine it will stay. None of these cells further to the north have shown signs of rotation just yet. It's just been this cell down here across our far southern counties that continues to have this couplet tighten up. We get a tornado warning, and then it kind of falls apart for a little bit and cycles through. So we just have to watch this one carefully. And right now on the velocity mode of the radar, you don't see that real tight tornado couplet, but that absolutely does not mean that the danger with this storm is over. So we're going to continue this tornado warning all the way until 9:15 p.m. this evening. Again, the tornado part of the storm, the rotation, is moving pretty slowly off to the north and northeast here at only about 15 miles an hour. So I'll put the wider version of the track on here, see if we can get anywhere in the projected path. And the only place we can pick up is Godwinsonville by 9:03. So it's still going to be a while before the tornado gets to you, but still a good idea to be prepared, especially since how these things have worked tonight with how they've spun up in a very short order. We were watching that one, this same cell again, back over there in parts of Dooley and Crisp County, and it would look like this on one scan, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, we'd have that tornado couplet back up on the screen again, capable of producing a tornado. So again, take this one seriously. North of Rhine, north of Rhine to the west of Milan there, or Milan. I remember being corrected about that one before. And then also to the southwest of Chauncey. You're under that tornado warning. Seek shelter immediately. Tornado warning is going, or the tornado portion of the storm is going to be coming near Georgia 117, just to the north and west of Georgia 165 there. And just like earlier, there's a lot of heavy rainfall already everywhere within this tornado warning. So it's going to be a rain-wrapped storm. Number one, you're not going to be able to see it because of the rain, but two, it's dark outside, it's nighttime. So the only thing that would potentially illuminate this storm would be a flash of lightning here or there, or some power flashes. So it's not a good idea to sit on your porch and wait for this one to come in. It's going to be a rain-wrapped storm, and it could develop pretty quickly. When we were talking to the EMA director there in Crisp County, he talked about how it just kind of came out of nowhere. Unfortunately, that's going to be the situation with these spin-up tornadoes tonight. We're just going to have to watch them very carefully. Doppler radar is not indicating any hail, so some good news there. But we're still indicating that rotation. Looks a little more broad on this scan, but we still have that red and green coupled together, again with the red moving away from the radar here. So we'll draw that. Let's try to draw a little bit better. We'll draw that on here for you, and the green coming towards the radar. So there's your wind shear. And when that couples together a little bit tighter than that, we could have it briefly produce a tornado. Back to the correlation coefficient mode of the radar. Again, a couple minutes ago, we were looking at those lighter colors right here. Take the lightning off so you can see that. And that may have indicated some lofted debris. We cannot confirm that it was lofted debris, but may have indicated that. And we're still kind of seeing that a little bit. So I have to watch and see later if we can confirm if there was debris there or not. But we do know this storm did produce some damage across parts of Crisp County earlier today. Now, out ahead of the storm, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and that includes a good chunk of Dodge County, parts of Telfair County, just a sliver of it there. And you see these bright green colors just to the south of the couplet. That can be some strong wind as well, on the order of 45 to 60 miles an hour. So we'll click on the query here and see if we can measure some of this stuff. Let's try it one more time. I can show you that the tornado is not the only threat with this storm. So the Doppler indicated winds are at 35 to 45 miles an hour. That can be brought down to the surface. It's not out of the question at all that we see wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and that's why the severe thunderstorm warning is also in effect. So the new scan of the radar just came in. It still looks pretty broad there with that last scan, but you can see the green and the red coupled together in a pretty close area. So it only takes a couple of minutes and that can get tighter once again. Right now that rotation and the most dangerous part of the storm is approaching Georgia 117. It's going to split right there between Georgia 117 and Georgia 165 just to the southwest of Chauncey. So if you are in any of those areas, and I'll name off some specific streets, you need to go ahead and be inside, away from windows and doors, in the lowest level of your home. Again, Mitchell Dye Road, Marigold Road, South Caldwell Road. Those are some of the roads in the immediate path of the storm. Further off to the north and east, as the system continues to push off to the northeast, it's going to impact parts of Friendship Road, Hamilton Cemetery Road, and eventually up towards Jefferson Davis Memorial Road. So all of those road names that I just named off are in the immediate path of that circulation, indicated by the green and red coupled together. So if you live there, go ahead and seek shelter immediately in your tornado safe space. Again, bathroom is a great place to be, underneath a stairwell. Any interior room that you can place as many walls between yourself and outside as possible is where you need to be. And I know a lot of folks aren't dealing with this tornado this evening. It's just some folks down there on the south side. But if you have friends down there, your job this evening is to call them, let them know that there's a dangerous storm heading in their location so that they can stay safe as well. So again, this tornado warning is in effect for Dodge County. This goes until 9:15 p.m. this evening. So there's still a good bit of time left on this tornado warning, and we're going to be with you as long as this tornado warning is in effect. If you live south of Godwinsonville and southwest of Chauncey, those are the two locations in the next immediate path of the storm. It is moving slowly in these directions, so you do have some time to go ahead and seek shelter, but don't take that for granted because we know just how fast these things can spin up. Go ahead and show you the bigger picture here. There's our tornado warning storm embedded within that severe thunderstorm warning. A lot of folks to the north are dealing with some heavy rainfall. That's moving into parts of Wrightsville right now, parts of Sandersville, and just now moving out of Milledgeville. Those are not severe thunderstorms. In fact, we'll turn on the lightning here, and there's not even a lot of lightning with it, so just some rain up there. Our severe weather threat has been confined to our far southern counties today. We had the tornado warning over there for parts of Crisp County and Dooley County earlier. That same cell is responsible for this current tornado warning, and we're seeing one of those features again start to show up on the Doppler radar. So we'll go back into here, I'll stop the reflectivity, and notice how you have those lighter colors on the radar just to the west of Chauncey there. I'll point it out right here. This is called an inflow notch. It's an indicator of strong winds feeding right into that rotation in the part of the storm. And so you go back over to velocity and you see where that green and red are coupled together. That's where you have this strong rotation with this thunderstorm as it continues to move off to the north and east. A projected path on the couplet of the storm, again, the only location populated enough to pop up on the projected path is Godwinsonville. That's at 9:04 p.m. this evening. But if you know that you live in that projected path between where I just drew it in Godwinsonville, or you have any friends down there, go ahead and either seek shelter or call up your friends and tell them to take shelter because this storm does have that history a while back, about an hour and a half ago, of producing a tornado, and definitely could with this one as well. Brand new warning just popped up that you're going to see on your screen. That's a flash flood warning. This is for Dodge, Lawrence, Pulaski, Wheeler, and Wilcox counties. So you see, we're not only dealing with the tornado threat tonight, it's also the heavy rainfall threat as these storms have gone over the same locations again and again. We've had those flash flooding develop, and if you're out driving tonight, you're not going to be able to tell how deep that water is. So go ahead and try to stay off the roads if you can tonight, but if you're out there driving and you come upon some water, turn around, don't drown. It may sound cheesy, you may hear us say it 100 times, but it saves lives. So definitely do that this evening. So we'll go back into the radar here. New scan just came in. Notice how we have some brighter green colors showing up on the edge of that couplet there. And that could indicate maybe that this is starting to tighten up once again. So the rotation right now is located between Georgia 117 and Georgia 165, moving to the northeast at 15 miles an hour. That's going to put it near Chauncey and near Godwinsonville just after the 9 o'clock hour. So we have that rotation. If we go to the shear mode of the radar here, we'll try to, again, it's a little bit delayed. Remember, it's got to catch up a little bit. Radar is always behind the storm. You see the gate-to-gate shear there is at 48 miles an hour, and that is sufficient enough to produce one of these spin-up tornadoes. So we'll see that update again in a couple seconds once we get another new scan of the radar in. But we can see it right now in the velocity mode. We have the red. I'll draw the arrows for the wind direction there. That's moving in that direction. The green's coming up this way. And when you have those two next to each other, you always have that possibility of the couplet getting tighter and potentially producing a tornado. We'll zoom on out and talk about areas a little further down the line, since this storm has held together a good bit over the last couple of hours. Next in line past the warning would be the eastern portions of Dodge County, southern parts of Lawrence County. Then we're talking about Telfair, Wheeler counties coming up next. You're not under the warning just yet. That tornado warning is only for a small area there in parts of Dodge County. But if this storm continues to hold together like we've been tracking since about 7 o'clock tonight, we may have to watch that later. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire, but we still have the tornado warning in effect, and that's going to go until 9:15 p.m. this evening. Latest scan of the radar doesn't look too terribly tight, but we still have that red and that green coupled together. And like we saw earlier, it could really tighten up in just a matter of minutes. So you need to stay in your tornado shelter. Very bright green colors just showed up on that latest scan here. So we'll show you the wind velocity here. It queried the flash flood warning. So let's take that off. I can show you the wind shear here. So this is picking up towards the radar at 51 miles an hour and gate-to-gate shear of 45 miles an hour. So bottom line, that means there's a lot of wind shear in this part of the storm, and that's going to be moving into Chauncey here in just a couple of minutes. So again, projected path is probably not going to pick up a whole lot of towns, but here we go. Let's see what it says. So it's moving off to the northeast here at about 15 miles an hour. Again, Godwinsonville is the only location that's showing up officially, but we do know that folks live in between Chauncey, Godwinsonville, right along Georgia 165, in between 165 and 117. So all you folks right now need to be in an interior-most room, lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, that's where you need to be. If you don't have a basement, that's okay. Just get inside where you can place as many walls between yourself and outside as possible. If you have a bicycle helmet or your kids have bicycle helmets, it's a good idea to go ahead and put those on. That can shield yourself in the unfortunate event that you were to get hit by this storm. That could shield yourself from that flying debris. Also go ahead and wear some tennis shoes as you go to your tornado safe space, as if you were to get hit by the storm, you don't want to step on any sharp objects after the storm is over. Pretty strong wind gusts are ongoing right out ahead of the storm here. We have gate-to-gate shear, well, not a lot of gate-to-gate shear here, but gusts to 60 miles an hour right ahead of that couplet. So even if we're not seeing a tornado on the ground here, we still could see some damaging straight-line winds with this storm. Again, we're in constant communication with the National Weather Service during all of these tornado warnings. They have not yet let us know if we're going to continue this warning all the way until 9:15 or until they want to let it expire. My thinking is that they're going to continue this warning just because we've seen how quickly these couplets can come together and briefly produce a tornado tonight. So we're going to be on the air as long as we have this tornado warning in effect, which again goes for another 25 minutes or so. So tornado warning in effect only for Dodge County right now. That's the only tornado warning within the 13 WMAZ coverage area. There's not a tornado watch in effect, so you can kind of get the picture. This isn't a very widespread event. It's definitely not a tornado outbreak. What has happened is the tropical or post-tropical cyclone Nestor is now getting closer to us here in central Georgia. And our far southern counties are in that area right now where we could have some wind shear and some brief spin-up tornadoes, and that's exactly what has happened. So this storm, while it doesn't look too organized just based on the velocity right there, while it's not producing a tornado maybe right now, it does have a history of producing a tornado, and so we still have to track this tornado warning. So tornado warning in effect for the next 24 minutes now. If you're in Chauncey, the storm is getting closer to your location, so you need to go ahead, seek shelter, get inside, interior-most room. There's definitely some very strong straight line winds right on the edge of this area of rotation. So you may not necessarily get hit by a tornado, but damaging straight line winds can do the same kind of damage that tornadoes do. That's the exact reason why we warn for tornado or for severe thunderstorm warnings because they can still down trees. They still pose a threat to life and property. That's the definition of the warning. So that's why you have to take all of these warnings seriously as we go throughout this evening. Areas that are in the clear further back across parts of Dodge County, like Rhine, just outside the warning there in Abbeville, western portions of the county. While you're still under the tornado warning technically, Georgia 230, you're in the clear. The system has passed to your east and is moving to the northeast. Areas that are not in the clear though, between Georgia 117 and 165, between Godwinsonville and Chauncey, you still need to be in your tornado safe space. Some of the roads in the immediate path of the most dangerous part of this storm include Evergreen Church Road, Friendship Baptist Road, Hamilton Cemetery Road, and SC Caldwell Road. All of those locations are in the immediate path of the rotation of this storm, and so you need to be inside in a basement ideally. If you don't have a basement, get inside an interior bathroom or underneath a staircase. The more walls you can place between yourself and outside as possible, the better it is for your situation, as you can help to limit damage. So we're just getting a report in now from the Dodge EMA that says there is no damage across the county just yet. So again, we were concerned a little while ago. I'll back up the radar to show you what this warning came out for. See that very tight red and green together? That's why they would issue the tornado warning for a Doppler indicated tornado. It doesn't always mean that a tornado is going to touch down, but it certainly can spin up like we saw back there in Crisp County. So some good news so far that we're not seeing any damage just yet. But again, one of these could spin up very quickly, so we're going to stay on the air with you here until this tornado warning expires. Right now that's set for 9:15 p.m. this evening, but it could be a little bit earlier if the National Weather Service decides to drop off in this warning. We're always talking to them. We're always keeping an eye on it. If you're out there driving tonight across a good portion of central Georgia, see those green boxes? That indicates a flash flood warning. So parts of Dooley, Pulaski, Wilcox, a good chunk of Dodge into Lawrence and Wheeler counties. You're under that flash flood warning because notice how these storms have dumped a lot of rainfall in a very short period of time. And because of that, we could have some flooding ongoing. If you are out there driving tonight and you come across standing or moving water, don't try to drive on through it. It's dark outside and you're just not going to be able to tell how deep that water is. So new message from the National Weather Service. They're going to continue this tornado warning until 9:15 p.m. They're going to shorten up that tornado warning box though. So we're about to be able to put some folks in the clear. If you live along Georgia 230, I know you see a lot of red lines up there, but you are in the clear for this tornado warning. Copeland and Rhine, you're in the clear. Abbeville and Statham Shoals, you're in the clear for this tornado warning. But the tornado warning does remain in effect for parts of Dodge County, especially for the areas that I'm most concerned right now between Georgia 117 and Georgia 165. That's where we do continue to see those reds and those greens right next to each other. Again, with the red indicating that motion away, the green indicating motion towards. When the green meets red, you need to get under the bed. That's a good way to remember what you need to do in a tornado warning. So if you have a sturdy structure, like a table in an interior room, maybe a bathroom, a closet, underneath a staircase, all of those would be great places to be. And it looks like the storm is going through one of those cycles right now where it could get a little bit stronger. You see the reds are coming up a little bit brighter right next to those greens. And so we could be seeing this try to spin up another one. Outside of the warning, if you're in what's that called? Just to the north there of Accord, Jaybird Springs, Chauncey, Godwinsonville. Some of those locations technically aren't in the warning, but it'd be a pretty good idea right now to go ahead and get inside. Again, it's already raining in all these locations, so put a track on the leading edge of that damaging wind and potentially the tornado.